So now we're going to actually do the UI. So we will be needing, for this bit, 4 buttons. So, just to keep the hierarchy even tidier, create an empty game object. So right click, create empty, reset the transform position, and rename this to world. Select the 2 water cameras, the terrain, the sun, and the actual sea, and just drag that into world, and minimize that. And right click again in the hierarchy like pane, click on UI and button, and it'll automatically add a canvas in and all of that. Select the canvas, press F, and whilst I do the UI, I like to work in an isometric view. You don't have to, but it's personal preference of me, because it can be a 3D, it can be 3D UI, or it could be 2D. But just for this, actually we'll make it ever so slightly 3D. Select the button, and we'll want this button to be the campaign button. So if we anchor it to the bottom right, and then move it to the bottom right. This is the actual positioning is why I like to work in an isometric view. Like so. Rename the button to campaign. If I could spell. Campaign GN. Duplicate it. Bring it up slightly. And call this button survival. And so you know which button's which, just name this campaign button survival button. Duplicate both of them. Set as anchor points to be the bottom left, and then just drag it all the way across to the left, where it says campaign button 1. Rename that to quit. And do the same for the text. So quit. Rename the other survival button to settings. And do the same for the text in the button. But make sure you don't press an enter, otherwise it will also register. Otherwise it will also register in the actual text box. To give it a slightly 3D aspect, select the 2 left buttons, press E to bring up the rotation tool, and on the green axis, just rotate it left a bit. Bring it out of perspective view. So then it should give it some depth. And to just help that, expand both, select the text elements of both. Actually, we'll do that last. We'll do that in a minute. So it's rotation set to 35. Select the setting and quit button and set the Y rotation to -35. They look a bit off at the moment. Don't worry about that. Then select the text of all 4 buttons. Press W, press global, and just bring it out on the Z axis just a bit. Slightly less, just there. Okay. So now, right click on the canvas, UI, and then select panel. Remove the image, so on the image component, select the cogwheel and then remove component. Rename the panel to main panel. Select all 4 buttons and drag them into the main panel. Just so then when we click on canvas, you can add, I'm hoping, not that, right click, import package, cameras, I think it is. They put it in. Nope, not cameras. Right click, import package, characters, and just import. What we're looking for is the mouse look script. Just then, as we move, for example, if we move the mouse around the screen, the UI will just like pan itself within the constrained area, which will give it a slightly more depth, which I believe is quite nice. It's very Crysis-like. So select the canvas again, add component, and just type in. Oh, why is it still not there? Hold on a sec. Resume. Okay. So expand standard assets, characters, first person character, expand scripts, and then just drag in mouse. Okay, so double click the mouse look script and it should open in Visual Studio or your editor environment of choice. Just make that slightly bigger for you. Where it says public class mouse look on line 8, write the following: space followed by a colon, yes, colon, and then capital M, and just type in mono behavior. Where it says mono behavior, if using Visual Studio, you can just now press tab and then save. Jump back into Unity. And then select the canvas again and just drag on the mouse look script. So then that's now there. Want it smooth. So set minimum X to be minus 10. Set max to be 10. Yeah, it's fine. So when we click play, nothing happens. Parent of the main camera. Still nothing happens. Parent the mouse look script to the main camera. Odd. Okay, I'll have a think about that, and I'll hopefully show you a fix in the second tutorial. But moving on, because we're now at the 46-minute mark. Wow. Select all the buttons. Set the highlighted color to a color of your choice. So it's just so it's a little bit more prominent. I like to use red wherever possible. It's a personal preference. Select the pressed color to a lighter shade of the highlighted color. And same for the disabled color, but a darker color. If you jump into the scene view, press F. Make sure you're in ISO mode. So you can see what's going on there. You click visualize, you can see how it will jump to each element if you either use an arrow key or the left stick on a gamepad. So for now, that's fine. Now the only thing we're missing on this part of the panel is a title. So right click on the main panel, go to UI. You can stick in an image or a text. For now, I'm just going to stick in a text to keep things simple. On on the anchor points, so this square here where it says center and middle, click, press Alt to give you a few more to set its position as well, and select the top stretch. So this one just here. Just then it stretches across the top and it anchors on the top as well. If you press T to bring up like the 2D UI tools and just drag that down a bit, center the text and middle align it, set it to best fit. I'm going to set the color to white. I'm also going to add a component, so select UI, effects, and then I'm just going to outline it to give it a little bit more definition. So instead of new text, well, instead of text, call it title, and just call it a title, survival tutorial. And that's that bit done. Now, do not forget to save the scene. So at this point, create a new folder on the top level of the project. So in the project pane, make sure everything's closed. Click, right-click, click create folder, and call this scenes. Go to file, save scene as, double click on scenes so you're in the scenes folder, and just name this main menu. Like so. That's all fine. Make sure pixel perfect's checked. And worlds, it's not worlds. Screen space overlay will do. Yeah. Just make sure on the canvas that it's screen space overlay and it's pixel perfect. I'll go into the other options as we see fit. I'm also just going to remove the audio source from that because there should be one on the main camera. Okay, so that's the main panel done. Now we're going to create the settings panel. So what you need to do is just duplicate the main panel, select the main panel and disable it. So next to where you edit the main panel text, just uncheck the arrow. Then we only see one main panel. Just rename this to settings panel. Delete all the buttons except the quit button. Rename the quit button to back button. Rename the text to back. That's all fine. So now in the settings panel, we're going to want a slider. So if you go to UI, well, with the settings panel selected, right click, UI, slider, and just drag that up a bit to back here. One thing I forgot to do, select the actual title, and where you see these white triangle like points, select the bottom one and drag downwards. So then that bottom line is in line, the dashed dotted line is in line with the solid bottom line of the title. And what that will do is, no matter what, that percentage of the screen will be taken up by just the title as like a header. And we're going to be doing this, something similar for the quality settings, which is what we're doing now. Now, because this grid has been so helpful, we're just going to expand the left to go there and the right to go here, like so. Making sure that it remains centered. Select whole numbers and set max value for this to be 5 in this case. Rename the slider to overall quality slider. Right click, UI, no, don't do that. right click on settings panel, UI, text, drag the text just to, so then the bottom snaps on the left side and the bottom of the slider. Now also just drag the anchor points to go around the rectangle like we did before, like so. Instead of it saying new text, for now just type in current quality level, simple. Expand that to be the whole length to make things simpler. And just do the same thing for the anchor points of the actual slider, like so. That's one. Also rename the text to overall quality text. Now select both, right click, duplicate, press W, and just drag it down a bit. Now what this one's going to be is vsync. So vsync text, vsync slider. Now on slider you can only have 3 stages: vsync off, vsync times 1, or vsync times 2. So min value is 0, max value is 3. Select the text again, just change that to vsync off, and just drag down the anchor points because they won't drag down as you move down the element, and do the same thing for the slider. Like so. Now what we want to do is anti-aliasing, and this can either be, according to the wiki, this can either be off, anti-aliasing times 2, times 4, or times 8. So you need min value of 0, max value of 0, 1, 2, 3, max value of 3. So again, that's fine. Select both vsyncs, so select both vsync text and vsync slider, and again duplicate it, bring it down a bit, select the text, bring down the anchor points, rename that from vsync off to anti-aliasing. Rename the title to settings before I forget. And now, if you right click on the settings panel, go to UI, select toggle. And this toggle, if we just move it left a bit, then it's sort of in line with everything else. Like so. Bring it down a bit. And rename the actual toggle to anisotropic filtering. That was a mouthful. Select its label and just paste in the actual name, capital A, and so. I believe. Oh, if we go to where is it? Stripping, filtering, navigation. Instead of automatic, go to vertical. Just so then it doesn't mess around with things a bit. Okay, and for now, that is our simple / advanced-ish settings panel, which we'll add some scripts to in a minute.